Oh wait, my mic was muted this whole time. Alright. No, let's just play casually, not with the sweaty. I already have 23,000 gold. Hold on, let's share. Get an idea. Yeah, we do. Okay. Let's see the share blocks thing. Okay. Share mode. Okay, do share mode on. Right. Or actually, nah, it's fine. I have 1,000 wood. Okay, just look at the thing quickly. Which video should we choose of these? 1,000, yeah, I'm rich in this game. I have 20,000 gold. What else do I have 1,000 of? I know I have 1,000 of some other stuff. 1,000 steel. Only only 150 gold blocks are just insane. Almost 2,000 plastic. Yeah. 7,000 grass. 9,000. Sorry? Wait, not 7,000. Okay, let's just build a boat that we can. Okay. Go to settings, turn share mode. Okay, which of these videos, because I want to do this story. Which of these videos should we do? Let's just do the most popular one. I guess we'll just do the most popular one. The thing about this one is it has some weird animations, so just ignore the video, but it's got some pretty good commentary. I think. I don't know. I remember watching this when I first heard this story. I just want to see how. Okay. Okay. No, we've got so much wood. Hold up. I've gotta.
Or who are you? Who? Okay, well, I guess we'll never find out who this little guy is. I don't really know. Who? Could you leave? I'm trying to make a video right now. So, you're not really communicating with me, so I just think...
My name is Who.
Wait. Should we just...
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Call Me Chris. You can call me Chris. And today we're doing a little something different because it's the spooky season and we're
that's what I was
creepy
thinking
really
as well.
close to Halloween. So I thought it would be fun to read a creepypasta. A creepypasta in which I have not read yet, so I'm gonna kind of react as we go kind of thing. But
I also want to see your reaction to this creepypasta because I've seen it.
So shout out to the people that animated this. You're freaking awesome. But sit back and relax. Grab a little blankie and some snacks, and let's get into the creepypasta.
Animations are probably the scariest thing about it, though, to be honest, because it's really...
So the creepypasta we are reading today is called Something Walks Whistling Past My House.
I can just do this.
Scared the shit out of me. I already scared. We just got into this. Why do I have an alarm at 1? Does anybody else have alarms randomly set throughout the day and they just don't turn them off and they just go off randomly? I do. Anyway, I'm getting off trail. Anyway, the creepypasta we're reading today is called Something Walks Whistling Past My House Every Night at 3:03 a.m. I'm assuming. But we'll see. I'm not sure. It doesn't say. So, again, I haven't read this, so we're gonna read it together as we go. I'm gonna try to like stick to the story, but knowing me, I'm probably gonna go off on some tangents. It got voted scariest story of 2019, most immersive story in 2019. So, and it's by grand_theft_motto 5 years ago. So let's get into it. I need to put on my glasses for this, so you could do the Chris Reed screens thing if you want, Jay.
Gather round because now is Chris Reed Screams.
Also, I want to apologize as well that I'm still sick. So if I sound a little nasally and stuff, it's because my nose is clogged. So forgive me. But let's now get into the story. Every night, no matter the weather, something walks down our street whistling softly. You can only hear it if you're in the living room or the kitchen when they walk by, and it always starts at exactly 3:03. The sound starts faint, somewhere near the beginning of the lane near
It's
the
a
Carson's
really
place,
creepy animation
towards the middle
style.
of the street, so the whistling moves past us before fading away in the direction of the cul-de-sac. When I was younger, my sister and I would sneak into the kitchen some nights to listen. Mom and Dad didn't like that, and we'd catch hell if they found us out there. But they were never too hard on us since we always stuck to the one big rule. Don't try to look at whatever was... Nope. Won't do that. I started watching horror movies when I was like 10, so I just knew better. Anyway, my neighborhood is a funny place. I've lived here since I was 6, and I love it. The houses are small but well kept, good-sized yards, plenty of places to roam. There are a lot of other kids here my age. I turned 13 back in October. We grew up together and would always play Foursquare in the cul-de-sac or
Yo, are you
roam
there?
around from back porch to back porch in the summer. This was a good place
Okay.
to grow up. I'm old enough to see it. And there's only the two strange things here. The night whistling and the good luck. Interesting. Okay, so it is happening at 3:03 a.m. Okay, interesting. The whistling never bothered me much. Like I said, I couldn't even hear it from my bedroom. But Mom and Dad don't
I'm
like
gonna
talking
be honest,
about
the
it, so I
animation
stopped
style
asking
is like-
questions. My dad is a strong
Oh, you're
guy,
painting it?
tall and calm.
Nice.
He has an
Okay, I
accent
also have
since he
paint.
moved to the U.S. as a
I
kid.
don't put your
His
move
family, my
tool.
grandparents, they're from
Put
the
your move
island.
tool
That's
on
what they call
two,
it.
so it's
My dad, the only time he
On the
isn't so
grid.
calm is if the whistler comes up. He talks a little quicker then, eyes move faster, and he tells us not to think about it so much and to always remember that one rule, the big rule. Don't
No.
try to look outside when
the
the
hammer
whistler goes
tool.
past. Not that we could
put
even
it on.
look if we wanted
Put
to.
the move
See,
option on
there
2.
are shutters on the inside of every window, thick pieces of heavy canvas that pull down from the top and latch to the bottom of the window frame. Each latch
This is a
has
really
small
good story,
lock
by the way.
about the
So
size of what you'd find on a diary. My dad locks those shutters every night before we all go to bed and keeps the key in his room. Interesting. Oh, I wonder what it is. Is it like a demon? I can only think that it's like a paranormal type thing at this point, but I kind of want to just keep reading. My mom, I don't know what she thinks about the whistling. I've seen her out in the living
Yeah.
room before
Okay,
at
it's fine, you
3:03
just
when the
respawn.
sound starts. I could see her if I cracked my door open just an inch to peek. She's not out there often. At least I haven't caught her much. But once or twice a month, I think she sits out there on the big red couch just listening. The whistler has the same tune every night. It's
okay,
cheerful.
never mind. Putting it
Remember
on
how
2
I
does
said
it
there
really
are
weird.
two odd things about where I live?
Uh,
Well, besides our night whistler, everyone in my neighborhood is really lucky.
Oh, smart. You should
It's
do
hard to
that.
explain, and Dad doesn't like us talking about this part much either. But good things just seem to happen
Okay.
to people around
Actually,
here a
no.
lot.
Yeah. Leave
But
this.
usually it's small things.
But for the next
winning a
layers,
radio
just do,
contest, or
let's
getting
just
an
do
unexpected
wood.
promotion at work,
Because it looks
or
better.
finding some arrowheads buried in the yard. You know, the authentic kind. The weather is pretty good, and there's no crime, and everybody's gardens bloom extra bright in the fall.
Okay,
A
you do
million
that,
little
I'll
blessings.
just-
I'm gonna give her a voice. I gotta give her a voice. What should I give her? I'm gonna do a little Texas country kind of accent, southern kind of accent. A million little blessings. I've heard my mom say about living here, but the main reason we stay here, why we moved here in the first place, is my sister Nola. She was born very sick, something with her lungs. We couldn't even bring her home when she was born, only visit her in the hospital. She was so small. I remember small even compared to other babies. A machine had to breathe for her. We moved into our house here to be closer to the hospital. As soon as we moved here, Nola started getting better. And the doctors couldn't figure it out. They chalked it up to whatever they were doing, but We could all tell that they were confused. But my parents knew, even I knew, Nola getting better was just another of the million little blessings we got for living in our neighborhood. Ooh, interesting. I don't even want to make like assumptions at this point. I just kind of want to read. I might not rant a lot through this. So that's why we stayed even after we found out that for every small miracle that happens here every day,
Alright.
now and then some bad things happen. But
How's
they
the
only
story?
happen if you look for the Whistler. Don't
Wait,
look
no.
at the Whistler. Don't look. See,
Yeah.
our neighborhood has a welcoming committee. Committee. Why do I keep saying that? See, our neighborhood has a welcoming committee. They show up with macaroni casserole and a gift basket and a manila folder whenever
What?
someone new moves in.
Okay.
They're very friendly. 4 people showed
Yeah.
up when we moved in 7 years ago.
That's fine.
The committee made small talk, gave me a Snickers bar, and took turns holding Nola. It was her first week out of the hospital, so they were extra careful. Then the committee asked to speak to my parents in private, so I was sent to my room where I still
That's been
managed to hear nearly
safe.
every word. The welcoming committee told my parents about how nice the neighborhood was, really exceptionally, hard to explain kind of nice. And then they told my parents about the even harder to explain whistling that happened every morning
bought a
at
new
3:03 and ended at the tick of 3:05. The group, our new neighbors, warned my parents that the whistling was quiet, would never harm or hurt us as long as we didn't look for what was making the sound.
Just wait.
Okay, so everybody's
Ooh,
in
yeah,
on
that
that.
is
That's
nice
interesting.
stuff.
I don't know. Like if you look at is it if you look at it, then that's where the bad luck comes from? I guess. Maybe. Like something bad happens to you if you look at it. But like what's the point of it? I don't know.
Just hold
This
up.
part
let me
they
go, yeah.
stressed, and I pushed my ear into the door, straining to hear them. People who went looking for the Whistler had their luck change. Knew it. I didn't read ahead. Sometimes, tragically, they die or something. A black cloud would hang over anyone that looked. Anything that could go wrong would. The manila envelope the committee brought over contained
I want to
newspaper
hear your
clippings,
theories to
stories
this
about
as well.
car crashes and ruined luck accidents. Yes. I feel like that was pretty obvious, though.
No,
Not
just for the
everyone
long
has.
time.
I heard the head of the committee tell my dad, but the life goes out of them. Even if they live, there's no light in them ever again. No presence. My mom, I could tell she wasn't taking it seriously. She kept asking if this was some prank they play on new neighbors. At one point, my mom got angry, accused the committee of trying to scare us out of our new home, asked them if they were racist on account of my dad being from the islands. My dad calmed her down, told her he could tell our new neighbors were sincere, and they were just trying to help us. He explained that he grew up hearing these kinds of stories from his mom, and that he knew there were strange things that walked among us. Some of those strange things were good, and some were bad. But most
I think
were
just
just
stick with
different.
the OG woodcolor.
Interesting. That's good to have a dad that's just like, let's hear him out. You know? That's good. But I feel like the mom is very like, I feel like I'd react like that. I'd be like, what the hell is going on? After the committee
I'm gonna
left,
dye
Dad
this
went
to
out to
the
the
OG
hardware
wood
store,
color.
bought the canvas blinds, the latches, and the locks, and installed them on every window in the house after dinner.
Hey,
The
can you
first
just,
night in our new
while I
house,
die,
crept out
can you
of
just,
my room
uh,
at 3 a.m. No. Only to find my dad awake, sitting on the living room
Build,
couch,
like,
holding my baby
this
sister.
side
My dad
up.
held up his finger
Build
in
this
a
side like up.
motion,
And
but
leave the
patted
other
the
side.
couch next to him. I sat and we waited. At exactly 3:03, we heard the whistling. It came and it went, just like our night, and we never look, and we enjoy our million little blessings every day. Nola breathes on her own, and she's grown into a strong, clever girl. My dad even joined the welcoming committee. We don't get new neighbors often. Why would anyone want to leave? But when a new family moves in, my dad and the committee bring them a macaroni casserole, a gift basket, and the manila folder. I can always tell by the look on my dad's face when he comes back if the family took the committee seriously, or if we'd be getting new neighbors again very soon. Ooh.
Yeah, expand this out. I'm gonna
That's
build a
crazy.
bit.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, what else could you do? You know, all you could do is say like, "Hey, don't look outside, otherwise bad things are gonna happen." I wouldn't. I don't know. As a kid though, I'd look for sure. I'd be dead. Not long ago,
Just-
a family moved
okay,
in
never
directly
mind.
next to us. The previous owner, Miss Maddie, passed away at age 105. She lived a good long life. Our new neighbors seemed like they'd fit in just fine. They believed in the welcoming committee, took my dad's advice about locking the shutters since they had a young child of their own. Whatever newspaper clippings were in the manila envelope, whatever evidence,
Wait.
my dad never let us see. but I imagine it must have been awfully convincing since our neighbors got along with no issues for the first month. One night, when our new neighbors had to leave town, they sent their son, Holden, to stay with us. Oh no, I'm already scared. He was 12, a year under me in school. I didn't know him well before that night, but as soon as his parents dropped him off after dinner, I could tell it was going to be a bad time.
Do you know who's always out there whistling every night?
Holden asked the moment the adults left the room. The three of us were sitting in the den. Some Disney movie was playing idly on the television. My sister and I exchanged a glance.
We don't talk about that,
I said.
I think it's the weirdo that lives in the big yellow house on the corner.
I'm
Holden
sorry,
said.
this animation is so
Holes?
bad.
My sister asked. No way, he's really nice. Holden shrugged.
Must be a psycho killer then.
I'm Holden. It's me. I'm Holden. Nola tensed.
We don't talk about it.
I repeated.
Let's go in my room and play Nintendo.
We spent the next few hours playing games, eating popcorn, and then watching movies. A typical sleepover, but I could see Holden was getting antsy. After my parents had wished us goodnight, locked the blinds, and gone to bed, Holden stood up from his beanbag and walked over to where Nola and I were sitting on my bed.
Have you ever tried looking?
He asked.
It's nearly time.
Like most sleepovers, we'd conventionally ignored any suggestion of bedtime. I was shocked to see he was right. It was almost 3 a.m. I sighed.
We don't. See, I can't even try to look because my dad locks the blinds every night and hides the key.
He continued, ignoring me.
So does our dad,
Said Nola.
No,
Replied Holden.
no, he doesn't.
You saw him do it, I said, a little sharper than I meant to sound. Holden grinned.
Your dad locks the blinds, yeah, but he doesn't hide the key. He keeps it right on his normal keychain.
So,
No, just
I
leave it
asked,
to
worried
the
I
novel
already knew
too.
what he was going to say next. Because I had noticed that my dad didn't bother hiding the key anymore after all those years. Because he knew we took it seriously.
So after your dad locked up, but before your parents went to bed,
No, but
I went
that's
to the bathroom. And on my way, I may have peeked into their room. I may have seen your dad's keychain on his nightstand. And I maybe went and borrowed the key to the blinds.
Nola and I stared, and his grin only grew wider. You're lying.
I think that's
I
enough,
said.
Chase.
Holden shrugged.
You can check if you want. Just open your
Uh,
parents' door and look. You'll see a keychain right there on the nightstand.
Stay here, I told both of them. Don't move a muscle. I hurried over to my parents' room, but hesitated at the door. If
Oh
Holden
my
wasn't
god,
lying,
no.
my dad
Okay,
would be
it's
angry,
fine.
beyond angry. I was scared thinking about it, but more scared of an open window with the Whistler right outside. I opened the door, barely.
What is your
and I
theories
looked
as
in,
to
but it was
the
too dark to
as
see.
to what the
Taking
Whistler
a deep
is?
breath, I walked into the room. 2 steps
That's
into
not
the
just
dark,
because I wouldn't
froze.
know,
The
I
whistling started,
I actually forgot.
and I could hear it clearly from my parents' room. I never realized, but they must have heard the sound every night since we moved into the house.
Just
They
a
never
noble
told us.
guy.
I don't think I could have slept through it. I stood there, listening to the whistling coming closer.
This isn't a true
unsure
story, by the
whether
way.
I
It's
should
just
turn
a
on a light or
creepypasta.
call out for my dad. Soft sounds from the living room brought me back to reality. Nola! I yelled, running out of my parents' room. Holden and Nola were standing near the front door next to the window.
Alright, what
Holden
should
wasn't
we
lying.
add?
I could see him fumbling with the lock on
No,
one of the blinds.
not that.
I heard a click. He
Okay,
did
I think
have
this
the
is
key.
ready.
Oh no! Oh my god, if Nola sees this, I got chills right now. If Holden shows Nola, I'm gonna freak out. She has a breathing issue. Oh no, she gonna die. She gonna die. This is bad. This is bad. Bad news bears. Holden let out a quick laugh. Nola stood next to him, hunched up, afraid, but maybe curious. The whistling was right outside our house
Alright,
now. I think I
let's-
made a sound.
let's
Called out.
go.
I can't remember. Time felt frozen.
I'll stay at the
Hands
back.
nailed
You
to
could
the
control
face,
it if you want.
But I found myself moving. I'm not fast. I've never been
Okay,
athletic.
test time.
Somehow, though, I covered the space
That
between
would just
myself
help
and Nola in a
thing
moment.
out.
My eyes were locked on her, but I heard Holden pull the blind all the way down so it could release. I heard the snap of it start to raise, and I heard the whistling just on the other side of the
No,
window.
you can-
But I had my arms
Oh.
around Nola, and I turned us so she was facing away from the window. At the same time I jammed my eyes shut,
yeah.
the blind whipped open. The whistling stopped.
Okay, it's fine. Let's
felt
just do
Nola
a
shaking in my
one
arms.
without driving.
Don't look, okay? I told her.
This
Don't
it's
turn around.
vertical.
We were positioned so that she was facing back towards the hallway and I was facing the window.
I'm gonna turn the
My eyes were so
music a bit
closed.
down.
I felt her nod in my shoulder. I reached out with the arm not holding Nola and tried to touch Holden.
This-
My hand brushed against his arm. He was shaking worse than Nola. Holden? I asked. Silence. I reached past him and gingerly felt the window, eyes still sealed shut. The glass was cold against my fingertips, colder than it should have been for the time of year. I moved my hand up the window, searching for the string to the blind. The glass began to get warmer the further I reached, and there was a gentle hum feeding back into my fingertips. I tried not to think about
Oof.
what might be on the other side of the window.
Who is this rando?
Finally, I touched the string and yanked the blinds shut. I opened my eyes.
Oh,
In the dim light leaking
that.
out from the kitchen, I could make out Holden, pale and small, staring at the now closed window. Holden? I asked again. He turned towards me and he screamed. Everything became a flurry of motion. Lights sparked life in the hall, then the living room. My parents' footsteps thudded across the hardwood floor. I didn't turn to look back at them. My eyes were glued to Holden. He was pale, had bit his lips so hard there was a thin red line of blood running down his chin, and he'd wet himself.
Don't
What
understand how you could look
My dad
at
asked from
that
behind
and
me.
say
I managed to
it's
swivel from Holden
fire.
and look back.
at
He
that
looked.
animation.
I'd never seen my dad scared before, but I saw it that night, in that moment.
That's
An
literally
old,
that's
ugly
literally
terror stitched
surprise
on his
picture.
face. A parent's fear. Just Holden? He mouthed to me. I nodded
It's
yes.
very good
My dad
narration,
let
but the
out.
animation
He
is
looked so
just
relieved, I
so
nearly
bad for
expected
me.
him to cheer. But then he turned to Holden, and my dad's face changed. I wondered if he felt bad for feeling good that Holden was the only one that had looked. There was a knock at the door. We all froze.
Oh my god, it's an ad! That's a real whistler! The whistler was an ad the whole time. The whistler was the ad.
Holden, Mom said. She stood at the threshold of the hall. I'd always
Oh, I
thought
think
she
I-
was a skeptic and just humored my dad about the windows and the whistler.
I skipped.
My dad's face changed. I wondered if he felt bad for feeling good that Holden was the only one that
I knew
looked.
it.
There was a knock at the door. We all froze. Holden whimpered. Don't answer it, Mom said. She stood at the threshold of the hall. I'd always thought she was a skeptic and just humored my dad about the windows and the whistle. We were all believers. I noticed that both my parents held baseball bats. They must have taken from their own bedroom. The knock came again, a little louder this time. Please, don't open the door, Holden whispered. My dad walked over to him, hugged him close. We won't, my dad promised, still holding his
The random guy is still here.
This time, the knocking was loud enough to rattle the door.
Imagine how
Holden
scary
screamed
that would have
and
been
Nola
if,
clutched
like,
her
you
arms
actually
around my neck.
experienced.
My mom came over and knelt down next to us, wrapping my sister and me close. Call the police, my mom whispered to my dad. The knocking instantly stopped. My dad looked over his shoulder at us. Do you think... He was cut off by the frantic knocking that trailed off to the light. Tap, tap, tap. Police! Something said from the other side of the door. The voice from outside sounded exactly like my mom, like a parrot repeating the words back to her. Oh, is it a skinwalker? Oh, I should have known this. Is it a skinwalker? Maybe it's a skinwalker that can like manipulate and like change the stuff, or I don't know. I'm scared. Police, call the police. Tap, tap, tap. Police. Oh, that's so creepy. That's so creepy. That's so creepy. It's like the mom's
We're still
voice
standing.
that's tapping on the door. I hate this. Oh, I love it. I love it though. This is great. Scare myself. Oh my god. My mom pulled us closer. Police, 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 police. Please stop. I heard her whisper. I don't think calling them will help. My dad said, how will we know when they're the ones at the door? The knocking came back harder than before. The door shook. Then it stopped. After a long moment, I heard the knocking again, but it was coming from our back door. We all turned together towards the back door, but the knocking immediately returned to the front door. Front to back to front. Loud, then quiet, then loud again. Suddenly, the sound was coming from both doors at once. Big, heavy blows like a sledgehammer. Then something started rapping against all the windows in the house. Then the walls. It was like we were living inside a drum
Right.
with a dozen people
Alright.
trying to play at once. Or we were a turtle and something was attempting to claw us out of our shell. Stop! Holden yelled. The knocking died. I won't tell, Holden said, staring at the door. I promise I won't tell anyone what I saw. Just please go away. We waited for nearly a minute. Then we heard it. A soft tap, tap, tap. Coming from the window Holden had looked through earlier. Holden started to cry, sobbing like a prisoner watching gallows being built outside their cell. My dad held him, brushed his hair, but never lied to him. Never told him things would be okay. Damn, that dad is realistic as fuck. I love that. He's like, you're probably gonna die, son. Shouldn't have done it. The tapping at the windows went on for the rest of the night. We huddled together in the living room for I don't know how long. Eventually, my mom tried to take us kids to the room while my dad stayed to watch the door. But the second we moved in my bedroom, the knocking came back. So loud it was impossible to ignore. I was afraid the door couldn't take it. We went back to the living room and the knocking stopped. Only the tap, tap, tap on the window remained. None of us slept that night. The tapping stopped around 7 a.m. That's about the time the sun comes up. We waited another 2 hours before my dad opened the blinds from one window. He made us all go back to my parents' bedroom first. I heard him open the door, then come back in. Okay, he told us. It's done. Holden's parents came back around lunchtime. My mom and dad walked Holden over to his house, and they all went inside for quite a while. Nola and I watched from the window. She stuck to me the whole day,
we might be dead.
right at my side, sometimes holding my hand. When my parents came back, they looked grim, but wouldn't tell us what they said
Your
to
hand.
Holden's family. It was a Sunday, so we all spent the day together, ordered pizza, and watched movies. That night,
No.
everyone slept in my room. Nola and my mom in the bed,
Stay on.
me,
No.
my dad in the chair he'd pulled over. There was no knocking that night, or any night
Yeah, I
since.
know.
We didn't see much of Holden
I'm
or
still
his parents for the rest of the
standing,
week,
but I don't
but
think it.
by Thursday,
It's
there was a
literally
moving truck
just
in
a
the driveway.
raft.
Nola and I watched them pack up
Oh
the
no,
whole
I'm
afternoon
dead.
after
I'm
school.
so dead.
What sticks with me most is how tired Holden and his parents looked. All three had the same
Oh my
paler,
God.
grim mouths
Oh
and lightless
no.
eyes. Even from across the street, I could tell something was very wrong. Holden and his family were gone before sunset. I remember what the original welcoming committee said to my parents when we moved in. Not everyone who looks at the Whistler dies, but even those that live have the life go out of them, and the rest of their lives are full of misfortune, a million little tragedies. I think Holden's
Here,
parents must have looked.
What are
I
you
would
doing?
comfort him if they didn't believe him, or share the burden if they did. I watched Nola some days, happy and young and alive, and I wonder if I'd been slower, if she'd looked out that window that night. Would I have looked too? To comfort her?
Yeah, I've
To
got
share
an
the burden?
idea.
I'm glad I don't have to find out. We still live in that house, in that neighborhood. We still hear
Okay, I'm gonna
our Whistler
switch to
walking
some
past
random
every
to a
night.
compilation
The
of
blessings, the luck, the
shorter
good things here are too good to
creepypastas.
leave. But we're careful. We don't have friends over to spend the night anymore. And my dad hides the keys to the blinds very, very well. Not that I've
No,
gone
don't
looking.
place
Some
anything.
things you just don't need to look for. Ooh, I got chills and they're multiplying. That was good. I enjoyed.
Alright, I know a channel that does creepypasta readings mainly. Hold up. Actually, I'll just search it here. No. And I think these are all from Reddit. Well, yeah. Okay. Hold up. Wait, I've got an idea. Oh no, that's not what I just delete them all. I want to make and add a second and third layer so that the floor is all the way up here in this mode. Like, do you understand the request? So that's why I was gonna delete all the chairs.
What's up, guys?
Okay.
icebergs I upload or something along those lines. This one is Reddit stories that are unexplained or unsettling or just scary. Whether you think Reddit stories are cool or not, it's definitely worth it listening to these stories because they are so scary and just worth the listen. So welcome. Sit back, relax,
Yep.
subscribe to the
You left
channel.
the game.
250,000 subscribers is the channel goal for this year. So yeah, let's get into this first story.
Yeah, I'll just finish the
I
book.
asked the kid I was babysitting, "What do you think lurks out there in the forest?" He responded with, "My mother. I've been babysitting all summer in order to make some extra cash.
My mother.
At first, I just asked around at school if anyone needed a babysitter for their siblings or if they knew anyone who could be interested. I started babysitting kids whose families I knew, but eventually I needed more money, so I put up an ad on Craigslist. It wasn't long until I got a response. The family lived in the suburbs, but what
I
bothered
don't
me
even
was how
play that.
close to the woods their house was, and the fact that they didn't have any neighbors. I got a bit freaked out at first, considering the fact that they were strangers with a cabin in the woods, but I decided to push through the fear for the money. The house was a cozy little cabin, clean, with a nice garden in the back that had a gate which led to a trail in the woods. They had a little lanterns hung out in the garden and a swing all the way in the back. The living room had a large window that faced directly the forest, and during the day, the room was bathed in sunlight. The kitchen was right next to it, with its counter facing another huge window, surrounded by pots and vines and stupid signs like "Home is where the family is," or "In this house, we say sorry." Upstairs, they only had the 2 bedrooms. The attic was a tiny space whose window faced the woods too. The kid was pretty quiet. Honestly, I neither liked or disliked him. I tried to form some sort of opinion, but he just didn't stand out in any way. He wasn't mean or stubborn, but he wasn't a sweetheart either. Years old, so I would just put him to bed quickly and then snoop around the house. I've always been curious, and I just know it's not exactly recommended, but I would just go through people's stuff whenever I felt bored. It must have been around midnight that night when I slowly pulled out one of the drawers in the maid bedroom.
Are you back in?
This one had all types of trinkets, coins,
Oh,
notebooks, pins, and buttons. This family liked to collect useless stuff and
yeah, I finished my idea.
let it hang around the house, and I liked to explore it. As I was studying this little ceramic statue of a horse, I moved around, noticing the moonlight hit its porcelain from different angles. I debated whether
I
to just
remember
take
this
it
one.
or not. Would they even notice? My chest tightened and my mouth opened. The horse was no longer bathed in moonlight because this huge shadow had covered it and was dancing on its porcelain. Looking around a bit, I noticed the shadow took up half the room. I could not make out the silhouette or what could have made it. It just seemed so unexpected that fear crept up to me and froze me. Someone was at the window. I knew it could have been a bird. That's the rational explanation, and I could have solved all this doubt by just looking up. But I didn't, because what if it wasn't a bird? I stood still for so long, not knowing what to do, until it passed, and the horse was lit up again by the moonlight. I breathed a sigh of relief and put the horse in my pocket. I didn't know at the time, but that would have been my first contact with it. Something made me stop snooping around and just get downstairs. I turned on the TV and curled up on the couch. At one point during the night, I heard creaking upstairs. I know it shouldn't have freaked me out so bad, but I was still so scared that I went to check it out. The house was dark and quiet, and the 2 bedrooms facing each other were empty. Empty. Where did the kid go? Jason? My voice pierced the silence, and I felt like an intruder, destroying the quiet of the night. Jason, where did you go? I kept having the feeling of being watched, so I turned around, fixated on the attic door, which was now opened. My instincts kept telling me to just leave, but my head, now spinning, refused. What if we had an intruder? What if he'd taken Jason? If I had just looked up at the window when the shadow passed, now I would know what I was dealing with. If I just had the courage to face it. My voice sounded a lot weaker than the first time, but I still had to try. Jason? Yeah. The response was almost immediate and coming from the attic. Odd. What was he doing up there? I put my foot on the first step of the stairs. What are you doing up here? It's really late. Your parents are going to be home soon. Step after step, I tried to readjust my eyes to the darkness. The attic was really dark compared to the rest of the house, and I could make out a ray of light that traced out this tiny silhouette.
Alright, I finished.
Jason, are you here? What are you doing?
Oh no, it's an act. Yeah.
I finally reached him and put my hand
I
on
never
his
unfriended
shoulders,
your old boat.
but he didn't respond. He was just staring out the tiny window into the woods. What's going
Why are you joining on your ult? Oh. Okay, just add me on the ult and I guess I'll add you back. Well, actually, no, it's fine because I finished the thing I was doing while you were gone already. So you can just join on your main as well. A genius idea. Now this will be connected to my ship. Oh, wait. Wait, can you just add me so I can just... Right there. I think that goes for Joy or your ult because I don't have much time left to play. I'll be Joy or your maid. So this is my take. Yeah, what is P there? Hello? Okay. Just join on your maid because I only have like an hour left to play. And I'll put the video back on.
going on? I asked. What are you looking at? I sat next to him and stared out the window at the woods. There was a portion of grass beginning from the house, pierced by trees. The further you went, the denser the trees are, until you discover you were completely surrounded by the woods, unable to see the sky from how tight the branches closed around you. The forest commenced from the garden
You
and
jive.
swallowed the horizon like a dark mass, blending with the sky. The window framed this darkness, this suffocating emptiness. It made me feel as if we'd reached the end of the world and, Had we dared to venture into the forest, we'd just fall off the face of the earth. And there stood Jason, just staring. What are you seeing? He just wouldn't answer.
No, that's not my ship.
So
I just
decided to
attached
find
it
out
here,
by
so
myself.
like if
Studying
everything
scenery,
else
nothing
fails,
particular stood out. Of
Just-
course, I just needed to pay more attention. Yeah, the more you looked, the more movement you saw. Birds,
Alright,
animals,
you get
even
it.
the wind
I get
thrilled
it.
the branches and the leaves. The grass swaying gently in the wind. And then the shadows were the next thing you noticed. These forever moving stains on the ground.
So,
I could have stared out there for years.
get on the
Maybe
pilot
that's why
seat.
Jason
Let's
wasn't moving.
go.
There's just something about the night that keeps you up. What do you think lurks out there? I asked him, playfully. Where in the woods? Yeah, my mom. I blinked a few times. That
No.
was unsettling. I mean, kids say weird stuff, but why would he respond to that?
Uh,
Was that a your mom
well-
joke? Was he trying to be funny? What do you mean? What does lurk mean? Oh, lurk means, well,
yeah.
when you wait or move slowly in the darkness because you don't want to be seen. So, like hiding? Yeah, but you're lurking when you also want to do something
Okay.
bad.
Now the
Animals
boat's
lurk
gone
before
because
they
that
attack.
wasn't my
Or
boat.
monsters, I added, trying to scare him. So, what do you think lurks out there in the forest? My mother, he responded once again. My body tensed up. That's not funny. I don't want to be funny. Why
Well,
would
I've
you
got
say
an
that?
idea.
Your mom, that's an old joke, and it stopped being funny a while ago. I'm not joking. Okay,
Just for some
let's Go
decoration.
to sleep. Your mother can't be lurking out there. I saw her and she's pretty nice. I don't know what she told you, but she doesn't eat people. She's out with your dad now, and they're gonna come home in a few hours. If they find out you aren't sleeping,
Yeah, don't make
I'll
the.
get a lot of shit for it. Shit. Don't tell your parents I said that. Come on, let's get down. I'm telling the truth. What? Is she a vampire? You know something was standing out the window earlier. I didn't really care that much about what I was saying because in my head everything had a logical explanation. Jason, however, widened his gaze. Yeah, that could have been her. Stop. I'm serious. And what does she want from us? Does she want to eat me? We were now in his bedroom and I had tucked him into bed. I had my back to the window, facing the hallway, which had now become way creepier than expected. She doesn't want to eat you. That's so great. I taste horrible anyways. Good night. I tried to stand
Yeah,
up and leave.
no,
but he
no,
grabbed
we're
me.
not gold grinding.
Don't go. Look at me.
It's just a spooky.
What now? I want to tell you about this dream I had.
Stop, we
This
ain't
dream that
gold
woke me
grinding.
up, but you have to pay attention.
Okay.
Okay. So, in my dream, I was in a garden and I was thirsty, and you were there too, and you
Okay,
tried to
hold
leave.
on, don't lodge. I'm
But
just
there
gonna
were
add
a
some
lot of
decorations.
bushes around, and you got lost. And I found this puppet. I hate it when people tell me about their dreams, but I sat there listening, facing Jason with my back to the window. Not because his story was interesting, not because I liked being there, because while he held me there, his eyes kept darting to the window, and I'd seen the shadow cover his face. Because he'd insisted I looked at him, but in reality, he didn't want me to turn around. So I listened until he abruptly finished his story when moonlight
This
reached
is
his
actually
face again.
such a creepy
Thank you
story.
for the story. It
I'm,
was really
I'm gonna
interesting.
say that about like
You're
all
welcome.
the stories.
Good night. Night. I spent the next hour in the other bedroom.
Yeah. What happened? God. Did it stop buffering for you? Oh, it's an ad. Alright, let me save the build and then we can go. Right. Get in your seat. Great. It's not letting me skip the ad.
This kid was a lot braver than I thought. In the silence, I kept trying to make out distinct, unfamiliar sounds, but didn't succeed. The house had fallen asleep.
Why did you
and the night
put
had
a
become
billion
eventful.
balloons on the
His
boat?
parents arrived soon after that. I put the horse in my pocket and went downstairs to
Okay, the
greet them.
candles flew off.
Was he good, Keith? Yeah, the best. Don't worry. I studied both of them, head to toe, their clothes, mannerisms, facial
Everything.
expressions, but mostly the mom. Were you good? Asked the dad, jokingly. I hope so, I responded. They wanted to drive me home, but I insisted on taking my bike. I closed the door behind me, but instead of leaving, I headed to the backyard. I just wanted to see something. Climbing on the fence, I made it on the roof of the porch.
I thought you said
Window,
I thought you
hoping
said
to see some
attitude.
signs of something, anything. The window was covered in scratches, but nothing gave out
Bruh.
what had been there. I stood there for a while. I don't know why. The parents had gone to sleep, and Jason was probably asleep in his room too. I studied the garden for